This is Growing Your Firm, the podcast for ambitious accountants and firm owners who want to work smarter, grow faster, and lead better. I'm your host, David Costello. Let's get into it. Hey everyone, Dave Costello here, founder and CEO of Jetpack Workflow and host of Growing Your Firm podcast. Today's guest is Tailor Hartman from Celerity Accounting. Tailor promised us that this would be his most enjoyable, most fun podcast. He just said it. I don't have it on record, but I think we're in for a treat. Taylor's been running his firm for a few years, recently hit, I believe, a pretty big inflection point in terms of his growth. We're going to unpack his story and so much more. But Tailor, my recent ride or die conference buddy, welcome to the show.
Yeah, thanks so much, David. I'm super excited, and I love listening to your podcast, so it's kind of fun to be actually one of the guests finally. And yeah, I'm grateful.
Yeah, I think it'll be a lot of fun. So for folks not familiar with you, your story, and your firm, what does your firm do, and any information you could tell us about the scale of the firm today?
Yeah, so I own Celerity Accounting. We just hit our 3-year mark last month, and we do everything from bookkeeping up to CFO level services, along with, payroll and a few accounting adjacent things too, AP, etc. So we niche on QuickBooks Online and NetSuite clients, and that's kind of our only niche. We don't really have an industry niche at all. But yeah, and in year one, it was just me trying to survive on my own. Ended up doing pretty well, and we'll talk about the inflection point thing like you mentioned. But
what was year one?
Right,
Pretty well. You remember the revenue from year one?
200,000.
Okay. I mean, that's...
And I was making 100 maybe, I think, at the job I quit to do this, and I was just trying to replace that income. So I was like, holy crap.
Yes, we're gonna dig into year one. What was year two?
Year two was 350, I think.
Nice. And rounding out year three, where'd you land in year three?
I believe 550.
Nice.
And we're already this year we've been adding 2 clients a month, so really scaling up quickly. We're over 60,000 a month right now.
Cool. Okay, so your run rate 720.
Yeah.
720. Yeah. So that 7-figure mark is inevitable. It feels like at this point. I'd never say, knock on wood, and Okay, year one, I think many would listen to that and find that amazing, and it is amazing. To get to not only replace your income but do better than replacing. I think a lot of times we interview people and they're like, well, first year, get your savings, maybe you can get half your salary, maybe not even that. And so walk me through, when did you land your first client? How did you land these first couple clients in year one?
Yeah. So a little background right before I answer that. I was at BDO doing outsourced accounting, the exact same thing I'm doing now, basically, for BDO. And I left for private for money reasons, to try and make a little bit more money. And that was super boring. So I made an Upwork account, and I started, applying to jobs on Upwork for accounting cleanup, controller level work, etc.
While you were still employed? While you were still employed?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. While I was still employed, I was doing it before work every day, or on weekends and stuff. But I got a gig on there for it must have been $25 an hour, which is way too cheap, right? But I was just trying to make some side money, pay off my student loans, and through that first gig, I crushed it. I had another gig. It's really hard to get your first couple of gigs, but I got those, crushed it. And then you start to get reviews. And that's when I started, getting decent sized clients on there, even while still having a job, within about 3 months, I would say. And by the time I ended up quitting that job, I had about 6,000 a month lined up on Upwork.
Very cool. Yeah. So how did you, if it's really hard to get that 0 to 1 or that initial start, was there anything in how you positioned your profile or how you, I guess, bid on the job that allowed you to land those first couple? What did you learn to get that? Because like you said, you don't have any reviews. You're just this random person they've never worked with before. So how are you landing the first couple?
So you can you can write out a whole thing, apply with your pricing, and you can also like now attach videos and stuff, but I don't think that was a thing back then. But I just priced it really low.
Yeah.
Low for, a CPA that has a lot of experience doing this. And I, was really authentic when I reached out. And I hand wrote every one of those proposals. A lot of people just, copy and paste and do it 1,000 times a day and hope for the best. But I was very authentic with it. And I think that kind of translated into how I kind of land clients now. It's a lot of it's based on trying to be as authentic as possible and getting them to trust me. So
What's an example? You say authentic, like what's a specific example of you doing that? Were you making like, is it just informal language? Were you making jokes? What were you specifically doing?
yeah, I think I just added that extra 15% of effort. Like I found their company online. I did the research. I saw they were in Chicago. This was a shoe company in Chicago. And I'm like, hey, I'm in Madison, which is like 2 hours away from you. I'm a real person. I have my CPA. I saw your company. You sell this kind of shoe. That's super cool. Like I just was trying to relate with them and like give them a reason to trust me faster. And I think the more you can relate with somebody, the more they're going to trust you.
Got it. So that extra 15% was just contextualizing, showing that you did some research, that, hey, you're human. Hey, I live here. Maybe this is my LinkedIn profile or something. Like you could point to something to say like, it's okay. I'm a real human. I'm not an AI bot. And showing that you could hustle a little bit. You could look at the website. You could see what the company is all about. And that on Upwork, in a world in which everybody's shotgunning the same thing, does stand out.
Yeah. Yeah. And it kind of prepared me for AI now too, because that's the same thing with like social media and everything with AI. It's like everyone's just cranking out AI content nonstop, but the authentic people stand out.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh my gosh. Yeah, every new piece of technology, everybody promises like the magic button, and then everybody ends up sounding the same, and then people are like, it's overhyped. It's like you're just not very good at executing this, right? The magic button does not exist. So
no, not yet.
You were saying, was it 3 months in you were doing $6K a month?
Yeah. So I would get gigs. Some of those clients are still my clients. Too right now. I've had zero churn that is my own fault, but some companies went out of business. But so we've had zero churn other than people going out of business so far. And a couple of those clients do still work with us, which I think is pretty cool. But I got my foot in the door through cleanup jobs. Like they found that their books were crap. They're like, they tried to go to a bank to get a loan or something. And then the bank's like, dude, your balance sheet looks horrible. Everything's negative. Or like, why is your bank account negative 2 million or something like that? So I would go in there. I'd apply to clean up their books. And then once I got them on a couple calls, it was like a done deal that they would want to, I'd crush it on the books. And then they would basically ask me to stay on and do their monthly accounting. And I would just throw out a number. I think the only app I had was Ignition back then. And I would just
what number would you throw out? Like
2,000.
2,000 a month?
Yeah. Because I mean, this client specifically, they're doing like 25 million a year on QBO. So at the time I was like, that's a lot of money to just make on the side. And I was stoked. It was super exciting anytime someone signed a proposal back then.
Yeah, of course. So the 6K a month, was it more or less 3 clients a month paying 2K a month?
To do their monthly close. So I was like making 6,000 a month. And once I quit my job and I was making that, I was a little paranoid, obviously, because that's a big step. But I was working like 10 hours a week, maybe at most.
For that 6K a month.
Yeah. I was just playing video games and hanging out with my puppy and stuff. Like it was amazing.
Yeah. So why'd you leave the dream lifestyle, the 10-hour work week and the puppy play dates? Like why was there a point where you're like, you know what? I actually like want to hit 7 figures or, whatever it is.
Yeah, I think so. After the first year, it was just me, and I had a contractor who was helping me out a little bit through Upwork, doing bookkeeping tasks.
Yeah.
And
And to be clear, year one, 200K all through Upwork and maybe referrals at some point.
All through Upwork.
Okay.
I think 100% Upwork. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I hired this bookkeeper to just because I apparently thought I was working too much, even though I wasn't. But very good decision on my part. She's my first employee now at this point, and she's still with us over 2 years later.
Where did you find her? How did you? A lot of people in their first hires end up hiring somebody that's suboptimal, we'll say. Like,
yeah.
So what did you do, or in hindsight, what do you think you got right that led you to, like, bringing on somebody that, like you said, you still employ to this day?
Yeah. So I found her on Upwork, the other side of Upwork, like the hiring side of Upwork. And I tested her out for maybe 3 or 4 months and trained her on the way that I like to do things and my quality standards. She doesn't have an accounting degree. She just only took one of those bookkeeping, like, boot camp things. So her experience was pretty low, and she was just like trying to make a little bit of extra money as a stay-at-home mom. And, she just kept crushing it on those projects. And I kept training her and training her and training her over those 3 or 4 months. I'm like, she's killing it. I need to hire her full time. So we got her off of Upwork, kind of snuck her off because they make you pay a fee to hire people on there full time. And yeah, the rest is history.
What's an example of something or how you would train her up on something? Because seems to be clearly effective, like maybe your approach to training.
So I would train her on something very specific, it would also be a lot of cleanup gigs where she would kind of learn a lot about cleaning up how to do prepaids. If you clean up a prepaid account, how prepaid works after you finish that, because your ultimate goal is getting that ending balance that shows everything that you've prepaid and whatever's remaining in that account, and what's how much left to expense for that account.
Yeah.
So I think it was going through projects like that with her, and like showing her prepaid, showing her accruals, and then like the basics with AP. Like we broke Bill.com together on a client. And
you mean literally the app stopped working?
Yeah, we have a client that has 350,000 SKUs. They sell circuit breakers, and we went through a whole transition to try and move to Bill.com, and they just were like, we can't do it. So we broke Bill.com. And then just making mistakes together too, I think helped her learn how not to do things and how to do things.
Yeah. When you are training her, is this like a live Zoom, or is it a Loom recording you send to her? Is it asynchronous, or how do you do this?
It used to be Looms, like mostly Loom recordings. But we do a lot on calls together as well. Yeah.
Okay. So 200K year one, all through Upwork. What I love about this, by the way, is like Upwork is not like this new crazy app ecosystem. Like a lot of people will look at Xero and QBO and they're like, oh, if only I was on Xero in 2015 when no other person was on it, then I would have a great cloud accounting firm. Or if I was early in the QBO advisory community. But the thing with like Upwork is this is like the third manifestation of this company. It used to be called, it was like a merger between 2 other companies. I forget their, like Guru and something else.
Yeah.
Odesk. It was like Odesk. Yeah.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And then Upwork, I mean, so this company's been around like maybe 20 years, maybe 15. Anyway, so it's not like this new cool emergent ecosystem. It's just like an outsourcing platform. And you like you mentioned, you have to humble yourself a little bit to like start taking gigs. Like you're 25 an hour, they're cleanup, but this is a great way to de-risk starting your own firm. Like that's amazing that kind of day one of you being full time in this firm is $72K a year. I mean, people would kill for that.
Yeah. It definitely made quitting my job a lot easier, having that like already there. Yeah. Even though I thought I had a major imposter syndrome, like everybody does at that stage, like it felt really good to have that on backup. And the way I think of it too is you could build your own website to try and sell your own products. But if you go on a platform like eBay, back in the day, I used to sell on eBay as one of my first jobs. And going on eBay gets you in front of your customers, and they're looking for your product on that platform. And you might pay a fee, but whatever, like you're getting in front of way more people than you would otherwise. Like you have to build SEO, you have to go to networking events and stuff. And or, Google ads and put some money up. So Upwork's a good way to get in front of people that actually need your services right now.
Has Upwork ever capped out for you where you had to find another channel, or have you been 0 to 720 a year just on Upwork?
No, I don't really do Upwork anymore. It's a lot of, how do I say this without sounding like a a-hole? It's a lot of like going through the crap to get to like that one good proposal that works.
Yeah.
So like, it's like every 20 gigs you apply for, one might want to get on a call with you. But once you get them on that call, my close rate was like 90%. So
why do you think that is? Why was it so high?
One, I think it's just a pain to interview a bunch of people on Upwork, and I hire on Upwork constantly. I hired someone this week on Upwork and last week on Upwork. So like, we use it all the time on the other side now. And yeah, you really only want to talk to like 2 or 3 people, because it's just, there's so many unknowns. People ghost you constantly. It's like the wild, wild west kind of out on Upwork sometimes.
Right.
You never know.
So when did you hit a ceiling for client acquisition on Upwork? Like, when did you say, look, we're done chasing gigs on Upwork?
About a year and a half ago, I would say.
So halfway through, you're doing like couple $100,000 a year at that point?
Yeah, I was probably making $25,000 a month at that time when I decided like, it's not worth my time to keep going on here and applying. And there's the whole, factor that you can't, if you take people off of Upwork, they'll cancel your account. They need you to keep them on Upwork so they can charge you 10% fees. And 10% is pretty high. And at our price point has just grown. And we're actually like at a decent level, hourly, I would say, now compared to when we were in the beginning. So our price point's a little bit too high for Upwork, I feel like, now.
So how are you getting clients post Upwork? What's the new acquisition method that you have to get these 2 clients a month?
Yeah, a lot of referrals, and especially from other accountants. Like, I'm the NetSuite guy to other accountants a lot of the time, and that has been really lucrative for me. And we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, so I know you know about this, but I am trying to kind of double down on the referral side of things. But referrals, we've tried Google ads without much luck. I've hired salespeople without a ton of luck. We're trying a new email marketing firm right now. Jury's still out on that. But
from Upwork, are you finding?
Not from Upwork, from a referral.
Okay.
From somebody else in the accounting world.
When was it like apparent to you that you're like, oh man, the more accountants I meet, the more referrals I get as the NetSuite guy? Like, did you accidentally fall into that, or was there one month where you're like, you know what, if I meet more accountants, they don't like NetSuite as much as I do, therefore I'm going to do this strategy? Like, was it very strategic? Was it organic? How did that unfold?
It was organic, and I didn't even know how to use NetSuite before I got my first client. I just applied for it on Upwork and got a NetSuite client and just self-taught myself. So it's kind of funny that like I fell into this whole niche that's kind of like what people know me for without even knowing how to use the software like 3 years ago. But yeah, it was like just going to conferences and getting out in front of people and talking to them, and them keeping me in mind, and then they'll get a lead and send it to me. And I'm like, whoa, that's surprising. That's cool. And it just kept happening. And I'm like, okay, this might actually be something. And then more recently, I'm like, okay, how can I capitalize on this even more somehow? Because it seems to be like, I was anti-referral in the beginning just because it's not like a consistent lead source. And it just feels like serendipitous. Anytime someone sends you something, it's like, oh, I had no idea that this was coming. That's cool, I guess. And I can't track the pipeline that way.
Yeah.
So it just felt random. But now I'm like, how can I make that less random, and how can I like really scale that up?
So without having the strategy in place to, okay, I want to build out referrals, and I think accountants would refer me for NetSuite. Why, or what prompted you to start going to, were you going to a lot of accounting conferences before starting your own firm? Like what prompted you to go to these conferences? Because, bear in mind, we go to them and, it's like, oh, there are all these people here. Most people do not go to conferences. So why were you like one of the weirdos that decided to go to a conference?
I think I went to Intuit Connect as my first conference in the first year of starting my business. And I just did it, I think, because I was listening to a lot of podcasts in the accounting space and they were doing it. And I was like, I want to be like those people. Like, it was probably Blake with the accounting podcast or something like that. But I was like,
Yeah.
damn, I have a little bit of FOMO for this. I started my firm. It seems really valuable to me. So I'm going to spend the money and go there. And then I did go to Intuit Connect and I went to Ryan Lozana's, his future firm breakfast.
Yeah.
And I met like Marie Green, Blake Oliver, Ryan, and like a bunch of really inspiring people. And then I was like, damn, this one breakfast was like worth it for me to come to this all the way to Vegas and like have all this imposter syndrome and like social anxiety, especially.
How did you get the invite to this breakfast?
Because I'm a member in the group.
Oh, in the
And I
future
think,
firm. You joined
yeah,
future firm. Okay.
yeah. And I say this a lot, but Future Firm was like how I built my firm early on. And I joined them before I even quit. So shout out to Ryan. They have a great group. He gives you the whole roadmap for starting your own business, which is really helpful.
Man, I feel like I need a referral link before this episode goes live. But yeah, we've had Ryan on. Ryan needs to come back on. Really enjoy his story. So, okay. So you're in this membership group. Let's take one step back. How did you find this membership group? Were you Google searching accounting membership groups? Was this on Twitter? Like, where did you see Ryan in the first place? There was a podcast.
Damn, this would be interesting if I could go back and like to my original, signing up form. I bet it's on there,
and the reason I'm digging into this, right, is because like it feels like, in hindsight, all the pieces fit together, but in the moment you were just kind of acting with a sense of boldness, right? So you're like, I'm gonna take Upwork clients when I start my job. I'm gonna take this NetSuite gig and I need to learn NetSuite, I guess. I'm gonna sign up for Ryan's course. Like I feel like I'm onto something. Like everybody keeps talking about the conference. I'm gonna sign up for the conference. I'm gonna let Ryan know I'm gonna be there so I could be at this breakfast. And you're at this conference, you start meeting people, and it sounds like I'm assuming you went to more conferences and eventually started getting referrals. It's like in hindsight, it all makes sense, but in the moment, it's just kind of these little acts of courage that kind of move you one step forward to putting yourself in a place where serendipity could happen in the first place.
Yeah, I like the way you said that a lot, and that's how I think of it too. It's like always one step outside the comfort zone, and you grow a little bit every time. And the conferences, especially for me, were outside my comfort zone a lot. Like just flying somewhere by myself, going to a conference. First time in Vegas. Yeah, you're right. It was these little courageous steps. It didn't feel like it at the time. It felt like I was like, I could have been doing more or something like that. But yeah.
When did you, so Ryan's breakfast was very impactful. I guess knowing that referrals ended up becoming a pretty strong driver for your business, have you learned anything about how to, I'm going to use this word, I'm sorry to you in advance, sorry to listeners, because everyone's going to be tuned off as soon as I'm saying, but how to network better? Like, have you learned anything how to network better?
I think I approached it from just wanting to meet people and talk to them. And yeah, I think I just got better at talking to people in general. In the beginning, it was very scary, especially with people that are, online a lot. And, like Roman's a good example. I saw him on LinkedIn for like a year before I met him in person. And like, because he has such a big following, it's a little bit intimidating talking to people like that the first few times. I am viscerally against networking. Like BNI makes me want to puke. That's one thing I used to push a lot. I was like, I went to 0 networking events other than Intuit Connect, which I wouldn't even consider a networking event really. I went to 0 like local things and still got to 200,000 in the first year, which is really unique. I think a lot of people get their leads and get their accounting. Yeah, get their leads from going to events like that and like talking to bankers and insurance people, etc. So yeah, I think I did ultimately get better at networking through going to those, but I went there just really curious and wanting to learn from those people.
That's what I was going to ask. So you meet Roman for the first time.
Yeah.
How did you come across as not being like weird, right? Like you meet somebody you've been following and you're just like, I've been following your stuff. Hi, like, what do you say, at that point? Yeah. So what did you, like, how do you approach these conversations to because I would like like Roman, you him are friends now, right? Like you've
Yeah.
met a lot of the people you follow, and now you're at least colleagues, maybe friends with some. And so like, how did
Yeah.
that happen? Is it by just peppering them with questions? Like, how do you think you showed up in a way that opened up better conversations?
I think for me personally, I had a little bit of a leg up because I was so active on Twitter and LinkedIn already that people knew who I was.
Okay.
And sometimes they would talk to me without me talking to them. So I
Like
think,
on Twitter,
yeah,
were you sharing lessons learned from building your firm, or what was your kind of like content that you were posting
it was kind of swear word posting.
about like the day
Like,
in the life, or what do you mean?
yeah, like crap posting. Just like, yeah, mostly complaining about clients, if I had to be honest with you.
Okay.
Like,
But in a
but
way that people seem to like find amusing and funny, right? And
yeah,
yeah, that's
yeah.
funny. Well, that's yet another example of like, yeah, it's really intimidating to post online.
Is
And
it?
I mean, I think for some people it is, or they don't know what to post. They feel like they need to be perfect. They need to have, again, this like strategy or template or format, or, I'm going to post, what should I post about? If they're not naturally drawn into a certain platform, it's like, well, how am I supposed to show up here? You were posting in a way that had nothing to do with trying to acquire clients and more so trying to connect with the digital accounting community. And I think that just doing it out, like to blow off steam, for lack of a better word, it's maybe different than how other people might think about it. They might think about like, well, what if my clients see this? I think it's a valid concern, right?
Right.
You know?
Yeah. And honestly, until recently, until I kind of had the realization that, oh, this accounting community stuff actually is turning into results for the firm, I think I did kind of feel that way too. I was like, this is kind of stupid what I'm doing, isn't it? Like, I'm meeting cool people, which is a good benefit, but like, what if clients go on there and see? But I'm pretty picky about clients, and I am almost positive most of my clients could see my Twitter. In fact, some of them follow me and they wouldn't care. They're like, Taylor's awesome. Like, let's go. They want to grab a beer with me, and like that's the vibe for most of my clients. So I think I have the type of clients that would also appreciate my complaining Twitter account. But yeah, I definitely thought about all those things too. And um yeah, tax Twitter especially, good spot to start. And people like Megan Tarnow were really, really open with me and really helpful to me when I went to those first few conferences. Like, they're like very social people, and I
Yeah.
wasn't I had so much imposter syndrome. Like, I'm social now a lot, but back then I was not social. I was just like, I remember hiding in my room for like half the conference for some of those. So yeah, like people like that who were just like would open their arms to me were really helpful.
Yeah. Well, they kind of like show you around, introduce you to people, just be like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's super cool. And that's just it. I think people kind of go in to conferences and they're like, I need to do a million different things, but it's like one good connection, one good idea, and frankly, the thing nobody talks about because everybody feels guilty about it, but it's like a little bit of a palate cleanser from your daily life, your daily grind, to just
Yeah.
like be in ideally a sunny place, warm place. Like they're usually held in like nice cities or fun cities, like for a little bit. So like there's definitely an aspect of that too, where you
Yeah.
go back and you have to catch up, and there might be fires and may not, but like, you got to break your routine a little bit, which I think is very valuable. Um, you kind of fast forward to today. You were originally nervous about going to Intuit Connect. Now you're on the Intuit Council. How
Yeah.
did that happen?
I don't know.
They just emailed you
Um,
one day, or what? They just cold emailed
no.
you and say, "Hey, Taylor, we love you crap posting your clients. Would you like to help us with products?" Like what?
I think um my online presence, and as you know, Intuit is focused. As you hopefully know, Intuit is focused on building an enterprise product now, their IES solution, and um, my NetSuite experience really helped me get that. I think,
Okay.
but yeah, I applied. You can apply yourself. I think applications come out in the summer, and the next cohort, the next 10 people starts in the fall. I think this year. So I applied, and then I had to interview with Jessica McCracken, and now I'm really good friends with her, but I did not know who she was, and she's a very intimidating person. If you don't know who she is, she's a amazing and but a big personality. So I interviewed with her, and I said some really ridiculous things, but I think ultimately I was techie enough, and I had the experience from NetSuite and some of the bigger platforms enough, and mid-market type clients, that they thought I was a good fit for it. But yeah, I'm on that council with a lot of people that are amazingly successful and like have 50 people firms. So like literally everyone but me and a couple other people have big firms. So it's kind of intimidating, but it's also really such a good experience, and I'm super grateful for it.
Very cool. Kind of final question. I feel like it can't end any episode without at least getting, your take on this, which is world of AI, overhyped, underhyped, appropriately hyped. Where do you see as the most fascinating, interesting applications, and where do you think it's like, yeah, it'd be cool if they pulled it off, but nobody pulled it off? Like, what's your general feeling around this space right now?
In the accounting space?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the tech companies that are embedding it into their software overhype it so much. And I don't want to name any names, but yeah, adding chatbots to your software that only work when you say 5 different things, that's not adding AI to your software, really. So I think there's a lot of overhyping, like we're the next QuickBooks. We're going to take all their customers, kind of like new GL. There's a lot of talk about that right now. And there's a lot. So it is overhyped in general, I think. But as a skeptical accountant, I think a lot of other accountants are also like, we're just going to wait until something actually works. And we're going to wait until people test it out and like show us that it works, to actually trust something being AI and being useful to us. And I think we're a long way away from moving our clients to a completely new software to try that out. But some of the stuff I do see and consult on is super cool. And I'm very optimistic over the next year that we're going to have some really cool tools that we can use.
Okay. To replace the general ledger, or what are they doing?
Augment. So I think it's more like, and I really, especially on the Intuit Council, when I give them advice, I really push let's keep the accountants around, but let's augment what they do and help us provide as much value as we can for our clients. So like if I have a fixed rate client, most of my clients are fixed rate. I am trying to pack as much value as I can into that engagement without working more. Yeah. So like something that can like point out, weird, your rent went up like $500, and I don't have to go in and actually look at the financials to see that, is really helpful to us. Or like, hey, we see that this interest, you're trending up, but the rest of the industry is trending down. Maybe you should, plan for this kind of thing. So I think there's going to be a lot of things that kind of embed into the GL, maybe not do all the work like we want it to do, but will like point out little things and help you along with little things, like, and especially with client communication, I think that's going to be the easiest hurdle to get over for AI, is just helping communicate better.
Yeah, I love that. Taylor, if somebody wants to reach out, say thank you for coming on, follow your colorful posting rants, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
Probably LinkedIn. I'm more on LinkedIn these days.
All right,
you've gone I'm also pro. On Twitter.
By the way, I forgot to mention, I did this thing a while ago. I think it was about a year ago, and I was like, here's like tax Twitter. Here's some people with big following, and then I got a whole bunch of comments on like, I guess it was X. Move to Blue Sky. Move to Blue Sky. You on Blue Sky? How are you feeling about Blue Sky?
I feel like I'm on it. It just feels more difficult to use than X. So I haven't fully moved there, or like fully started posting there frequently. I need something that just automates it for me, so I can post on one place and it just goes everywhere. Yeah. So I need to look into that. But yeah, I poke around a little bit on there. I know a lot of people move there because they're not a big Elon fans.
Yeah, that cold start problem is really hard. I went on Blue Sky and I was like, I have so much utility I get out of X from certain people, like product leaders, and it's like, to track those down. And I don't know, because it's not like, it's algorithmic. It's not like, it's at the feed. So I'm like, I don't know what combination of 40 to 60 people I must follow on Blue Sky to get, and then they also must be posting on there to get the same value, because I will get some extreme value, some great insights from there. But I will say, when I after that post, I'm like, okay, I'll open up a Blue Sky account. It's great. I think the benefit there is it really felt like there was no barrier to connect with anybody. It felt so early and so like early. And I think a lot of these early social networks, like they're on and everybody's just trying to push it forward together. So you could like DM people and be like, hey, I had this follow-up question. And like, because, and I say this with a little bit of a marketer's heart, because marketers haven't ruined Blue Sky yet, like people will respond. Like, and because like salespeople haven't ruined Blue Sky yet, they're going to respond because they know I'm not going to then be like, selling them an augmented staff service or like some other like thing. Like I'm not going to ask them a question, then pitch them something. And so like maybe that moment's already gone, but there was a moment in Blue Sky, which is like, oh, this person's interesting. I'm just going to direct message them. And like most of the time they responded. I'm like, oh, this is cool. Like everybody's like guard is down because it's a new platform and, salespeople aren't hounding them 24/7 on this thing. But I same challenge of just trying to get the same, it's the network effect of X or any of these things. Well, Taylor, this has been a lot of fun. I look forward to seeing you again in person sometime, somewhere. I don't know when that will be, but I know we'll cross paths again. If you're listening right now, you couldn't jot down all the notes from today's episode, go to jetpackworkflow.com/blog. That's jetpackworkflow.com/blog. We'll do a full write-up of everything we talked about. I'm going to link out to Taylor's site, to his LinkedIn. If I go crazy, I'll link out to his other socials. Maybe we'll even get his X account. We'll see. Enjoyed today's episode. Leave a review. Help us get the word out on today's show. Taylor, thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me, David.